Hello, evening. Thank you for joining Miss White and I. The purpose of today is to go through a mini presentation and some questions and answers about consultation for our proposal for a 2-week October half term in the academic year 2026 to 27, so the year after next, essentially. So what we're going to do is go through a little sort of presentation. At the end, we'll have some questions. But put simply, why are we proposing this? Well, we go from 6 weeks off in the summer. Everybody relaxes, gets out of the routine of learning, and then we come straight back in with 13 weeks, the longest term, with only 1 week gap break in the middle. It's not good enough as far as I'm concerned. It's not good enough for the teachers and the associate staff, because we need them firing on all cylinders and making sure we can maximise the potential of every single youngster. It's not good enough for our youngsters either, because they are tired as you move towards the end of that term, as we go into Christmas, and we want to make sure that we really are doing the very best by all of our staff and all of our youngsters too. It's not good for learning. So what we're trying to do is propose a clear way that maximises that learning, doesn't impact too negatively on the time that we already have, so we are fresh. That's what we're trying to do. So we're happy to take any questions at the end. This is another opportunity in case you have any burning questions for us, so we can hopefully help you make sure we get everything that you need. And should you have anything else, we can obviously post that. We'll get that sorted there. Miss White is going to go through. She's the expert. I'm the eye candy. Just to go through and make sure that we have everything crystal clear for you. The real finer points, and we sort of compare with other schools and just explain where we are, where we're up to, and hopefully that instigate a few questions or take care of some of the questions perhaps that you were going to answer. So I'll hand over to Miss White because she knows everything, and I'll just comment occasionally. How's that? Sounds good, doesn't it?
Sounds good.
I like that. You're far away.
Okay, good evening. Just to kind of stress what Mr. Wright said, we've actually been researching or looking at trying to implement this for some time now, and we've spent quite a lot of time researching the most effective model which we could adopt. And the key was, yes, we wanted to look at proposing this 2-week October half term, but we were really careful to ensure that this wasn't going to impact on learning time too much. We wanted to make sure that we still had pupils in for the right amount of time, and they still had those learning opportunities, which is why we took so much time to research different modules before proposing the one that we're going to discuss this evening. So just to kind of go over some points that I think Mr. Wright's already alluded to, but just discuss them in a little bit more detail. When we were trying to think about whether the 2-week October half term was a good idea or perhaps not, we did consider advantages and disadvantages. And as we've already mentioned this evening, it is important that we provide both our pupils and our staff adequate time to recuperate after a very difficult half term. We've worked out that the first term in any academic year equates for over 42% of the complete academic year, which is a lot. As you will know, winter is approaching, it's darker, it's colder, there's a lot more illnesses around, and our attendance does slip. Statistically, the penultimate week before October half term, attendance falls by 2% in that week compared to any other week across the year. And that is mainly because pupils and staff were getting sick. It is, as I said, we come back to it after 6 weeks and it's a grueling term. So one of the key advantages is making sure that pupils and staff are in the right frame of mind to ensure that actually we're maximising on those learning opportunities in lessons for as much of that term as possible. Secondly, we know holidays are expensive. Obviously, we want to try to make sure our pupils are in school in every learning opportunity we can. And we do realise that obviously taking pupils on holiday in term time is significantly cheaper than in the school holidays. So offering a 2-week October half term does provide some opportunity to take holidays at a slightly cheaper price. But we would hope then that means that the attendance of our pupils increases across the rest of the academic year, because that opportunity is provided for them to take a holiday. And then thirdly, we're aware that lots of other schools are doing it. Lots of other schools in our county are taking 2-week half terms. So we wanted to be in line with them. So they were our main advantages. Obviously, the disadvantage, the one that we were most concerned about, is the loss of learning time. And we will be honest, there is a tiny amount of loss of learning time. We've made it down to just 2 hours. So we feel like we've made a provision that's adequate here, and we really have minimised the loss of learning time. But we've got to acknowledge that there is 2 hours of lost learning time. And the other disadvantage is that ideally we'd be in line with our primary feeder schools, most of which, and I know a lot of people have put in the consultation about why is it that a lot of the local feeder primary schools have May half term and you're proposing October half term. Well, two things, as we said, the first term is the longest and the most grueling, so that was our first reason. But secondly, we're not able to take a 2-week May half term because we have GCSE exams going on, and those dates are obviously set by external exam boards. So we don't have that option to offer a 2-week May half term. Of course, that would be ideal, but unfortunately, that's not a possibility. So when we were considering a 2-week October half term, these are the points that we considered. And as mentioned, we did a lot of research into different models. So schools which have adopted 2-week October half terms, how have they done that? And you'll see on this slide, you can see how many days the school's open. You can see how many hours pupils are in school. But I think most importantly for us was how many learning hours there were. So we looked at what the lesson time was. We didn't look at tutor time or lunch time or break time, but how many subject-specific lessons were offered. And you can see all of these schools with their different 2-week October half terms, the different amounts of hours that equated to. And just to talk you through briefly some different models we did explore. So you'll see School A, they have got rid of all but one staff development day. And what that actually means is staff have to find 20 additional hours in their free time to make up for that training. Now, we didn't think that's fair. We want excellent practitioners in the classroom to deliver excellent lessons to your children. And we didn't feel it was fair to take away their own time to do that, particularly as we know a lot of our staff work in their own time anyway, planning, preparing lessons and marking work. And we didn't feel it was right to take that time off of them. We want to protect the time in the school year to ensure that we're continually developing our teachers to provide a first-class quality education at Woodlands. So that's one model we did explore. Second model, as you can see, they only have 182 days open. They have a 30-minute tutor time and a 40-minute lunch, but you'll see their learning hours are significantly less. So actually the amount of lessons is significantly less. School C, not dissimilar. They have 910 learning hours, so again, that's significantly less. So they've cut the amount of lessons in their year. School D, they have a slightly longer school day. They have a 50-minute lunch and a 30-minute tutor. So whilst the school day is longer, pupils are in school for a longer day. They're not actually learning anymore. As I said, they're at lunchtime, they're at break time, or they've got extended tutor time. And then finally, you'll see School E. I think we've got a similar thing there. They have they call it 5.5 lessons a day, but actually there are only 5 lessons because a lot of that time is spent in tutor or they've got the extended lunch. So you will see through those statistics there, they were different models that we explored. And we ended on this model. So the proposal for the 2026 to 2027 is on the right-hand side. And I won't go into the intricacies of it all, but I'll explain how we've tried to make up for those extra 5 days that we'd obviously take in October half term. So the biggest thing is that historically, pupils at Woodlands have broken up in the summer term 2 days earlier than a lot of the local schools. And that's because historically we've had 2 teacher training days at the end of that summer term. What we will do is we will move those 2 teacher training days to make up some of that days in that October half term. So we kind of moved 2 of those days there. It will mean that our summer term is 2 days longer, but you'll appreciate in the summer, the sun's out, the days are lighter, pupils find that a less difficult term. We're at the end of the year, there's less illnesses going around, so we don't have the same problems as we have in that first term. So that's where we make some of the time. Secondly, historically and still in this academic year, we have half days at the end of every term. Now, half days aren't particularly popular with teachers. We're being honest.
I don't like them at all.
Mr. Wright doesn't like them. We feel like it's not a great learning opportunity. Pupils come in with a slightly different mindset. They know that they're only going to be in for so many hours. So part of our proposal is we will get rid of the half days at the end of the autumn, spring and summer term. So they will be full days. So that will increase learning time. And what we hope is that by making them full days, they will be proper lessons as they would be at any other point throughout the year. So we feel that's quite important. As I said, that accounts for some of the time in the October half term. It also hopefully will improve the attendance, because those lessons, that learning, goes to the full end of the term. So that's important for us as well.
Yeah, I think Subway and Burger King and McDonald's will take a hit on those days, but I think we can live with that.
Yeah, they might not be too
Yeah,
keen.
absolutely.
That means the half day that remains, just to explain, we will have the open day still a half day,
Yep.
but we have to have that because obviously we open our school up in that evening and our staff need time to just set the school up. We did look at reducing that, but it wasn't viable.
No,
The
open days are important. I believe it's important that staff to be fresh, have a bite to eat, get everything set up to show our school in the best light, because we want people to join what we're trying to do. So barring that, that's pretty much it. The proposal is they're going to half days will go.
The other thing down here is we normally have a third staff development day. You'll see it's in July 2027. Now we normally have that as a full staff teaching day, so it's a non-pupil day all day. We are actually going to ask for pupils to come in for half of that day, so the school will be open, and then the afternoon is protected. Departments have conferences to do their planning for the following academic year, but obviously pupils are in more, they've got more learning time, so we're making up some time there. The final thing we're going to do, very popular day in the school year, is Trips Day, which comes in the summer term. Now, normally Trips Day is a couple of days before the end of the academic year, and then obviously they have the last day of term. We're going to move that Trips Day, so it will go to the last day of the academic year. So then actually we've protected the Trips Day for more learning as well. So we've found different hours throughout the school year, really, to minimise how much lost learning time there is. And if I just go to the next slide, you'll see we've got all of the data there from the other schools who adopted 2-week October half term, and then what would happen, what our proposed model is. So you'll see actually we really, our lesson time, our learning time is still quite high, still higher than most of those schools on there, with the exception of the one that's cancelled all their staff training days, which we kind of didn't agree with.
Which we can't name, although if you give me some money, I'll do it. Yes.
So that is our proposed model. And just advantages and disadvantages of the model that we're proposing. As I said, advantages, unlike most of the models adopted by other schools, the loss of the learning time is very minimal, and we've not done anything tokenistic by extending lunch times or break times. Some schools have added a few minutes to their school day, but obviously you appreciate that's not learning time. We feel that's pupils pack up a bit early and stand behind their chairs a bit longer.
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
That's a waste of time. So we didn't want to do that. And we also feel, as I said, an advantage is that we're still prioritising staff development. So we're not withdrawing those opportunities for them to develop their pedagogy and their teaching skills. The main disadvantage we could see is that the summer term is 2 days longer. However, that is in line with a lot of our local primary schools.
Yeah.
So for families who've got siblings at other schools, they should still be in line, which we thought was important too. So that is a very quick kind of summary of what we're proposing. As we mentioned at the start, please write any questions that you've got into the chat box. I will remind you that there is a consultation period. That consultation period closes on Wednesday, the 29th of January at 3 p.m. So we have put the link on the presentation, and I think the link's going to go in the chat in a moment, or it might already be in there. So you're able to access if you want to. Please put any feedback in there that you have, and we will obviously review that feedback. But as I said, now's your opportunity to ask some questions. So please feel free to write them in the chat.
And we'll see if we can answer them.
We will try.
If not, we'll just make it up and sound convincing. That's my usual.
Look convincing.
My usual thing I do. But right, let's have a look in there. So we've gone silent because we're reading the question, so we haven't just fallen asleep.
I mean, I think this alludes to the fact that we've had quite a lot of parents ask about other schools have primary schools have 2 weeks at May. We're not allowed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, because of the external GCSE exams, we can't move that. So we haven't really got that option at all. We would like to, but we haven't got that option at the moment, I'm afraid. I mean, we know other schools do it slightly different, but we've tried to be as in line as possible with the ones that we can be in line with. Yeah,
I mean, in an ideal world, the government would, so the Department of Education would say you can all have this and factor in everybody has a 2 week October half term, really. But I don't think they're at the stage with that kind of forward thinking. There's a little bit of flexibility with school leadership to do what kind of fits the context as well. So yeah, we're not quite there. Just to talk about options, this isn't about options. I'd love to talk about options, I'm not going to. That was Mr. Jordan last week, and that's available on the website, everything there, and we've got everything going through the process with the taster sessions and everything else. It's purely about the consultation for 2026-27.
How many terms are we going to have in the year? So you'll still have 3 terms and 6 half terms. So the number will remain the same, but half term 1 will be slightly shorter because you'll have 2 weeks for October half term.
With the primary schools, we do take from 41 primary schools as well. So the chances of us aligning with 41, and some are joined with other multi-academy trusts, and some would have to go with what they have decided as a match. So we wouldn't be able to please and align with every single 41 of the primaries. There are going to be some people that have different May half terms and have different October half terms. So we have considered that. But to get alignment from that number, I don't think we're going to be fortunate enough for that to take place.
I think, as you said, it'd be nice if we had that was set
Yeah.
nationally and we all followed it. But unfortunately, schools have got that flexibility, haven't they?
Yeah.
Which means it's very, very difficult to align when we take from those so many primary
But
schools.
it is something we have considered with the May one, but we purely can't do May because it's in the middle of GCSE. So we can't not have kids in when they're actually meant to be doing their GCSEs, because that's obviously the end bit. We're trying to get them to have those fantastic bits of paper with high numbers on to go and open up the next stage of their educational journey. So yeah, unfortunately, we can't do that. In an ideal world, yes, but I'm not in charge of the GCSE exams and who sets that. That's JCQ. They can unfortunately feel that one. Anything else that we can help with? I always like this bit when the questions dry up and then we just ramble on for ages, really. Right. Quick there. We tend not to have, with the GCSE revision, so I'm not going to go with the options question again because that was last week, so you're just a week late, quite frankly. The GCSE revision, we don't normally do as early as October half term. We begin to offer things in the February half term. So that's when we begin, and it's quite an extensive programme over the Easter. And so we've got 2 weeks for Easter, and the May half term we offer things. Well, but you're right in the swing of things there. So we tend to do it after the 2 rounds of PPEs the Year 11s have. So we offer that. Starts in the February half term, which is obviously not too far away now. Letters and information will go out about that, so it won't affect that one at all.
We do appreciate you considering that, though. We appreciate your parental support because obviously in Year 11 we are trying to prep them. So thank you for considering that.
Yeah, great. I mean, my daughter's in my eldest is in Year 11 at another school. We're not going away at all, and we're going to drive her to school even if it's shut. She can sit there with her books and hope some teachers walk past and teach her. I think that's fair. So, but no, we appreciate your support on that one. Yeah, it's quite a busy time for all of us on that one there. But we've tried to do it, as Miss Wright was saying, it is really to minimise the loss of learning time, because there are ways you can do, and you've seen those other models we put there, but we just want the youngsters in. But we also want to make sure we are still continuing to develop our staff, because if we've got better staff, including the training we're going to have, you've got better staff, you've got better kids, you've got a better school. So we want them to be at the cutting edge of what we can deliver to make them really maximise their potential. So we didn't want to do away with those ones. And it's a balance as well. We want staff that are really going to, work hard, enjoy it, and keep getting better and better. What's that one there?
So did I say you were trying a June term? Beginning of June, they have a week off. It depends it would depend. So if you were looking at the 26 to 27 calendar, the May half term, we call it May half term because traditionally it was always in May, but actually the way the calendars have been set now, it pushes it back. They have the kind of summer half term is in the year 26 to 27, the 31st of May to the 4th of June. So it's late May, but it does fall into June, but that's their half term. So they don't have 2 breaks. That is their break in the middle of the summer term.
Yeah, that's the May.
That's the
May half term.
We call it May half term, but I appreciate half of that's in June.
I'm glad you understand, because I didn't get that too. So I'm glad you did.
It is confusing. We do appreciate that.
No, it's trying to strike a balance. We do recognise the first term is just too long, and we have got the data, and we have looked at the models, and we have first of all consulted the staff as well. The staff are going through the similar process that you're going through as well. So we're receiving their feedback as well as your feedback. It goes out to all the other schools in the area, and they get a chance to comment as well on our proposal. So it's not a done deal. We are getting everything together, and hopefully if there's support for it, then we shouldn't be too far off what we're proposing there. Well, a decision will come shortly after the closing date on the 29th of January. We've been looking as we go along at the comments. Hopefully tonight we're trying to address, this is what the purpose of tonight is, to try to address those concerns or questions or sort of anomalies that may get thrown up. So pretty soon after that, we have to follow the sort of Essex County Council guidance on how long the proposal takes, how long the consultation takes, and as soon as we know, as soon as we reach that point, then we will write to you so you have all the information with obviously what's going to happen the academic year after next.
Someone's asking if they can see the calendar again.
Josh, you got to flash
we
that
might be able to get that
calendar
one
up
up for you.
Josh isn't an imaginary figure. We have IT support so we can multitask. But,
should be transferring over now.
in your own time, Josh.
There you go.
No pressure. Hopefully that helps. We can't see any other questions going at the moment, but we'll leave it there for a few moments. So this is what I tried to do a bit of this is, sort of before and after, if you like, a bit like changing rooms or something like that.
That's a very old
program. Or 60-minute makeover. Is that still on?
You watched that?
No, I don't watch that.
Okay.
I'm too busy working out Woodland School models with you. You understand this?
Okay.
Why we talk about that? But this is important.
So you'll see that the ones in the diamonds, they're our staff development days. The circle, just to explain because it is quite small, the circle is when we have half a day for open evening, and then the triangle is half a day when, as I said, it's kind of a half teacher training day when they do their subject conferences for the following year. So you should be able to see the model there for the 2026-2027 academic year.
Did this go out as part of the original one? Yeah, so it should with the letter as well, if you can obviously refer to that. I'm sure that would be an easier way to compare the two, really. So you might want to take a screenshot of it on your phone if that's easier for you, sort of maybe expand it a little bit easier to look at. But
we will, if there are questions coming in, we're just sharing so we can see them again now.
That's a good, that proposal looks good. I like that. Not the sound of that. And we'll see what else we've got.
Perfect.
Got a screenshot. So I'm glad you're here. Otherwise, I'll be talking about options. So I'm glad you're asking those questions. So that's good. It's good going. And the revision questions, obviously, always useful too. Anything else that we've got that we can help with? Oh, there's another one. Excellent.
Yeah, as we said, we know that other schools locally are doing it,
yep.
Which is why we wanted to explore it. And that's why we obviously researched different models to see what suited our context the best.
Yeah, but ours is better. It's simple as that, really. No, different ways of doing it, different, obviously, things to work on, but we wanted to make sure we minimum, say, 2 hours of learning time lost over the entire academic year, which is pretty impressive. And Miss White, she's been doing the research and the work on this. That's very nicely done. Plus, we get to keep the development days because that's important. The staff need time to develop. That's what we want to get better and better. Yeah, other schools do it differently. Ours is better. That's better to say to you. That's definitely better to say.
Of course, please feel free to ask something else.
Far away. Always not about options. I'm quite excited now. I know what it's going to be. I don't know the Arsenal score tonight, but I reckon we'll beat Tottenham, so that should be fine. I'm going to say 2-0. That's what we've got coming now.
Anticipation.
I'm so sure at the moment. Yeah, we're nervous now. I know it is. Yeah, hopefully this is ticking a few boxes for you as we're going along.
And just a reminder, please put those comments on the consultation form that we've shared with you. So if you have got feedback, please put that on there at the moment.
Yes, basically.
Yes, that's correct.
That's it. So 2 weeks Easter, 6 weeks summer, 2 weeks October.
Just to explain, so if we spoke about our academic year, people always think half terms are 6 weeks. Just an example, this year we had 6 weeks holiday. They come back and did 8 weeks. They then had 1 week half term, and then they did another 7 weeks. So that autumn term is significantly longer than any other point. As we said, 42% of the year is done by Christmas. Yeah. And unfortunately, that coincides with a time when everyone's getting sick and unwell. Yeah,
the temperature drops and everything else. I don't know who come up with that. I mean, it's really rubbish, quite frankly. So, which is why we've had a good look. We've been looking at this for some years. We wanted a model that we could sustain, and we could not impact negatively on the learning. It does take a while to go through and try and put things in place where we hopefully are looking to achieve that. So hopefully, yeah, what you've said, yes, basically.
We do find as well pupils struggle, not struggle, but that first term is very busy. Obviously, everything's new. They've got new teachers. We have a lot of our school events seem to fall in that first term because it's the start of a new academic year. So it's incredibly busy, which is why I think they get increasingly tired as well.
Yep. And I think we were up to 23 and 8 have gone, so that wasn't too good then, was it? So maybe didn't like the answer, I'm not sure. Oh, it did drop enough last. If there's anything else that we can help with, please do ask. Obviously, this is we're designed to try and hopefully make it as clear as possible. But if we don't have anything else, we are going to wrap up. But we really appreciate your time staying on here, because it is important that we get that chance to answer things quickly. Hopefully you've had all your questions answered. What else have we got there? Well, the issue we have with the holidays, my view, my personal view is I think the government should do something about how the holiday companies get to ramp up the cost of everything during the holidays anyway, because you can only really take your children out during those breaks when we have the half term and May and Easter and the summer, all the rest of it. So yeah, it may well see a little bit of a decrease because it's not the usual time where the youngsters are out of school, but we want them in school, so that could be a bit of a trade-off with that one there.
And I think that's the point, because obviously not all schools do have a 2-week October half term. It is becoming increasingly common, but the idea is that by offering that, hopefully you would have the opportunity to take probably the first week of the 2-week October half term, where other schools are in school. You would find that there was a slightly cheaper holiday on offer. We appreciate we can't fix all of it, but hopefully, because we do appreciate in the summer holidays are incredibly expensive. So we were trying to offer an opportunity when hopefully it's slightly cheaper than other points. So that kind of time in October, that was the point of trying to do that, or one of the points of trying to do that.
But it's always nice to go away when there's less people. I mean, who wants to go away? Other people's kids. I think I don't. But I always have to. That's unfortunately what happens when you work in a school. So yeah, that's that one there anyway. I think we're almost there.
Oh. Yeah, as I said, it's really difficult. In an ideal world, the primary schools would align with us.
Absolutely.
We do appreciate that.
Well, if you really don't like them, just leave them at home and take away the money you got at Woodlands. But I wouldn't recommend that, of course. That might come with a few problems. But I think a few of the staff would have similar questions as well, because they've got youngsters at other schools, they've got youngsters in primary schools, everything else. So yeah, we can see that can obviously be a bit of a concern. We know that. We know that. Right. Anything else have we got? Nothing there. Right. I think we're going to wrap up there. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. I think this has been recorded. Josh, is that right? Excellent for prosperity. There you go. So you can go back and look at it again if you really want to. Now, personally, not sure I'll do it, but it's there if you want to go back and look at a few things. And the consultation closes Wednesday, 29th of Jan at 3 o'clock. So thank you ever so much again for your time. It's right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Matt, Josh, much appreciated. Thank you very much. We bid you farewell.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.